Welcome to Watch-Minded, the channel where we don't just look at watches, we build them. This is a pilot's watch Seiko mod I built not long ago. I wanted a watch with a green dial, and I still think this version looks great, but I rarely wore it because I don't have many outfits that work with the color. At the same time, I really like this case. In fact, I think it's one of the most beautiful cases I've ever worked with. So, instead of leaving the watch unworn, I decided to rebuild it in a style that suits me better. Today, we'll replace the dial and hands, install a blue date wheel, add my logo to the dial, change the movement, and try several different straps. You'll find links to all the watch parts and tools I use in the description below. So, let's start. This is the new dial, a classic Type A pilot's dial in dark blue. It has a subtle sunburst effect, so the shade changes depending on how the light hits it. Sometimes it looks almost navy, and sometimes the blue becomes much more noticeable. But the surface isn't overly glossy or shiny, so it still feels understated and true to the practical character of a pilot's watch. The dark blue should also be much more versatile, and the simpler Type A layout should work nicely with the distinctive bezel and oversized onion crown. The next thing I want to change is the date wheel. Most Seiko NH35 and NH36 movements come with a white date wheel and black numerals. But for this build, I want to try a blue date wheel with white numerals. In theory, it should blend into the dial while matching the color of the hour numerals. At the moment, the blue looks slightly lighter than the dial, but it's difficult to judge the final result before everything is assembled. We'll see how well the colors work together once the date wheel is sitting behind the dial. Next go the hands. I think this shape is perfect for a pilot's watch, which is why I used the same design in the original build. Back then, I replaced the matching seconds hand with a red one to give the watch a little more character and energy. For this version, I'm going in a more understated direction. All three hands will be silver-colored, creating a cleaner and more consistent look that should complement the blue dial and steel case nicely. The final part I'm considering replacing is the movement. The original watch uses an NH36 because its dial displays both the day and the date. The new dial has only a date window, so an NH35 feels like the more logical choice. Technically, I could keep the NH36. The dial would simply cover the day wheel, and the movement would continue working normally. But since I'm rebuilding almost the entire watch, I decided to use an NH35, so the movement's functionality matches the new dial. Before starting the rebuild, I want to show you another recent project. This is my 36mm field watch Seiko mod. Although it could also be considered a pilot's watch, the line between these two categories can sometimes be quite subtle. It's smaller, very lightweight, and designed specifically for hiking and other outdoor activities. So, it has a simpler, more compact and practical character. Our new pilot build will take a noticeably different approach. First, I need to disassemble the original watch, starting with the strap. It doesn't have quick-release spring bars, so I'll need a spring bar tool to remove it. Once that's done, I can unscrew the case back using a simple rubber ball. Then I press the stem release button and carefully pull out the crown and stem. The case is quite large compared with the movement, so there's a plastic movement holder inside. I carefully remove that first. And now I can take the movement out of the case. I generally treat watch hands as single-use parts, so I'm not too concerned about reusing them. But I still have to be careful with the seconds hand. If it breaks during removal, its tiny mounting tube can remain stuck on the seconds pinion, and removing something that small would be extremely difficult. The dial, however, is definitely worth saving for a future project, so I'm using a dial protector to avoid scratching it while removing the hands. With the hands out of the way, I can carefully remove the dial. I no longer need the day-date complication for this build, so I'll put the NH36 aside and replace it with an NH35. And now it's time to install the blue date wheel. To reach it, I first need to remove the plate on top of the calendar mechanism. It's held in place by 4 tiny screws. Unscrewing them is easy. The difficult part is not losing them. If one of these screws jumps away, the chances of finding it again are not particularly high. It's also worth remembering the position of the plate before removing it. That will make putting everything back together much quicker. Now I can remove the original date wheel, install the blue one, put the plate back in place, and tighten all 4 screws. Before continuing with the build, I need to check that the new date wheel works correctly. First, I use the crown to advance the movement until the date changes. And it does. So far, so good. Next, I test the quick date adjustment. At first, it appears to work, but then something goes wrong. The date wheel moves slightly at one point, but the date itself doesn't change. And this is what happened. Underneath the plate is a small white plastic gear that helps advance the date wheel. When I advanced the movement until the date changed, I had effectively set it to midnight. I then immediately tried to use the quick date adjustment, and the plastic gear broke. This is exactly why manufacturers warn against using the quick date adjustment between approximately 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. During this period, the calendar mechanism may already be engaged, and forcing it can damage the components. Fortunately, I have a donor movement, the so-called Chinese NH35. It's a less expensive movement with many parts that are compatible with the genuine NH35. I previously made a comparison video about these two movements, so you can find that on the channel if you're curious. However, I'm not yet sure whether this particular gear will fit the genuine NH35, and I'm genuinely surprised by what I find. Not only is the gear the same size, but the Chinese version is actually made from metal instead of plastic. I install the metal gear, put the plate back in place, and tighten all 4 screws. Then I test the calendar mechanism again, this time without repeating my mistake, and now it works perfectly. Now I can install the dial. It has two small pins on the back, known as dial feet. And the movement has two matching holes. The installation is quite simple. I carefully align the dial feet with the holes and gently press the dial into place. The dial comes without a logo or any text, so I'd like to add my own. There are several ways to customize a blank dial, and I'm planning to make a separate video comparing them. For this build, I'll be using self-adhesive 3D transfer stickers. On Aliexpress, you can order stickers with your own custom logo, as well as universal text such as automatic. I chose white ones to match the numerals and markers on the dial. I'll start with the logo. I remove the colored backing paper, leaving the logo attached to the transparent transfer film. The difficult part is positioning it correctly. The sticker is extremely small, so aligning it accurately with my fingers would be almost impossible. Instead, I hold the transfer film with two pairs of tweezers and carefully lower it onto the dial. Once I'm happy with the position, I gently press the logo down using plastic tweezers. Removing the transparent film can also be tricky. It sometimes sticks quite firmly, so I have to peel it away slowly without lifting the logo or scratching the dial. Sometimes, a little adhesive residue is left behind. When that happens, I take a soft cloth and carefully clean the dial spot by spot. Next comes the automatic text. This is even more difficult to align because it's longer. I need to keep the text straight, center it beneath the hands, and make sure the entire dial remains visually symmetrical. Next, I can install the hands. Before installing the hour hand, I turn the crown until the date changes. This tells me that the movement is set to midnight, so I can align both the hour and minute hands precisely at 12. I'll start with the hour hand. During my last build, I broke one of the hands and had to order an entirely new set, so this time I'll try to be more careful. The hour hand is in place. Next comes the minute hand. And now the seconds hand. With all three hands installed, I rotate them through a full cycle to make sure they move freely without touching each other or the dial. I also check that they align correctly at 12 and that the date changes at midnight. Everything works as it should, so I can continue with the final steps. I remove the temporary factory stem from the NH35 by pressing the release lever. The NH35 and NH36 use the same stem, so I can simply reuse the one that was already cut to size for the original build. Now, I lower the movement into the case. reinstall the plastic movement holder. And insert the original crown and stem. Everything fits perfectly, so I can screw down the case back. And here is the finished watch. Now let's see how the watch looks with a few different straps. I've picked out the 3 options that I think suit it best. Let's start with the black leather strap. It has quick release spring bars, so it takes only a few seconds to attach it to the watch. I think it works very well with the dark blue dial and makes the watch look clean, understated, and slightly more formal. It's probably the most versatile option and should be easy to combine with almost any outfit. Next is a navy NATO strap with a red stripe. The blue works naturally with the dial, while the red adds some contrast and gives the watch more energy. The steel hardware also matches the case nicely. Compared with the black leather strap, this combination feels less formal and much sportier. It gives the watch more of an outdoor character and shows how much a strap can change the personality of the same build. And finally, a blue rubber strap. It has quick-release spring bars, so it's very easy to install or replace. The folding clasp makes it feel more premium and substantial on the wrist. However, this construction adds some bulk. This is probably the most cohesive combination of the 3. The strap complements the blue dial and brings out its color, while the textured surface gives the watch a more modern and sporty appearance. I've decided to keep the blue rubber strap on the watch. The blue date wheel also blends into the dial much better than I expected, while its white numerals match the rest of the design. The original green Type B version had more detail and energy, especially with its red seconds hand and white day date display. I still think it was a very good-looking watch, but it had a more distinctive style that didn't always suit me. The new version keeps the bold fluted bezel and oversized onion crown, but the simpler dial makes the overall design feel more balanced and versatile, and much closer to my personal style. Now let's test the Lume. For comparison, I'm using my field watch Seiko mod. The field watch is noticeably brighter, with its large numerals, hour markers, and hands producing a stronger glow. But turning our attention back to the pilot watch, all the hour numerals, the triangle at 12, and both main hands are clearly illuminated. The Lume has a consistent green color and provides enough contrast to read the time clearly in the dark. And here is the full cost breakdown in case you want to build this watch from scratch. Case, $26. Dial, $7.50. Date wheel, $8. Hands, $3.50. Strap, $17. Movement, Seiko NH35, $72. That brings the total cost of the listed parts to $134. As always, you'll find links to all the parts and tools in the description below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this rebuild, hit the like button and subscribe for more custom watch builds. I'll see you in the next one.